Hello again, my awesome artists. This is our third activity for our first week of virtual learning, and it's called Complementary Colored Hands. Here I have two examples of this project. Now before we can get started though, let's go ahead and read our learning target together. I'll go first. I can use complementary colors in my art. So, what are complementary colors? If you hear the end of the word, it has an S on it. That means that there's more than one. In this case, complementary colors always come in pairs or sets of two. Here I have one set, yellow and purple. Here I have another set, blue and orange. But there's actually one more set than that, my friends. We need to look at a color wheel to find that last set or pair. Here's my color wheel. So, find blue. All the way across from blue is orange. How about find yellow? All the way across from yellow is purple. So these pairs are always across from each other or facing each other as pairs. Our last pair, let's start at red, and all the way across we'll find green, just like holiday colors. Now the other important thing about complementary colors is how they create contrast or how they make each other pop. Now before we can even get to coloring, we're going to need to do a little bit of drawing, and we're obviously going to need to get some art supplies together. I'm going to go ahead and grab out our art supplies right now. All right, here are my two examples of complementary colored hands. And here is what we are going to need to complete this project. First, a nice white sheet of paper. Might need more in case you make an oops or you'd like to do more than one. Obviously, we're going to need a pencil as well as an eraser to erase any mistakes. I'll need a ruler to help me draw some straight lines. I'm also going to want to trace those lines eventually. If you don't have a Sharpie to help do that, you might want to find either a black marker or a black crayon to help trace your lines. We're going to need some colors as well as our color wheel to help find our complementary colors. If you don't have a printout, please pull up an image of a color wheel on your computer to look. And for our colors today, I'm going to let you choose what colors you have at home and what materials you might want to use, whether that might be crayons, markers, or paints if you have them. I'm going to go ahead and pick crayons today, but again, you can choose what you want to pick. Please pause the video right now and find these art materials that you have in your house to use. If you have your art materials ready, we'll go ahead and get started then. First thing I need is my pencil and my hand. I'll go ahead and slap it on down right into the middle of my paper. When you're tracing your hand, the best way to do it is make sure that your fingers are spread out and that your pencil stays straight up and down. If your fingers are close together or if your pencil flops and wiggles, you won't have as good of a hand. So I'll spread my fingers out. I'll start at the bottom of my paper, and I'm keeping my pencil straight up and down the best that I can while I trace around my fingers. My pencil is kind of almost tickling as it goes right against my skin and in between all my different fingers to help draw the outline of my hand. Now, you don't have to do a hand if you don't want to. You can also pick a different kind of shape, such as a heart or a circle, if you would like for the middle part of your paper. I'll go ahead and trace that up. Now again, you can use a Sharpie, black crayon, or black marker for this, but if you want to use paints later, please, please, please don't use a regular black marker. It will cause your paints to turn dark and icky, and all your black lines will kind of get smushed around a little bit. If you're using crayons, black marker is fine. I'm going to be using crayons, which is why I'll use my black marker, but again, you can use black marker, black crayon, or a black Sharpie to do tracing your lines. I'm going around rather quickly right now. Make sure that you are trying your best to stay on your line while you're tracing up your hand. All right, there's step one. Now I need to go ahead and I need to add some straight lines with my ruler. There's two choices. You can either do straight side to side kind of lines like I did here on this hand, or you can do radial straight lines like I did on this hand. This is the example that I'm going to show today. I'm going to start simply by just adding a small little dot in the middle part of my paper where I want my lines to go. All right, now I'll use my handy ruler and I'll line up with that dot This is the most important part, my friends. Make sure that you start on one edge of your paper, go through the middle of your dot, all the way to the other edge. I'll keep going around with the different lines that I would like to include, making sure that I line up with the middle part of that dot and go from one edge of my paper through the middle and then all the way to the other edge. If I need to, I might just freehand that last little bit of my line, or I can also scoop my ruler down to help with drawing it. If you don't have a ruler at home, the best thing to use is a straight edge of another piece of paper to help you draw your line. You'll have to be very, very gentle when you use it, but it can help you draw straight lines when you don't have a ruler at home. Scoop my ruler over. And I think I'll add a few more lines. Maybe we'll put one more through here. All right, when I'm happy with my lines, I'll go ahead and use my black marker, black crayon or Sharpie, and I'll trace those all up so they look like this. Again, if you need to pause the video at this step to catch up and trace all of your black lines, please go ahead and do that right now. Now that I have all my lines traced, I need to start thinking about what color complementary pair I want to use on my hand today. I've already used the complementary pairs of orange and blue and yellow and purple, so I want to do one that's a little bit different. I'll go ahead and pull out my color wheel and take a look. The last pair I haven't tried is red and green, and that's the pair that I'm going to show on my example today. I said I was going to go ahead and use crayons, so I'll grab out my crayons, open them up, and find my red and my green. Again, if you want to use a different complementary pair, of course you can. You get to pick what pair you use. I'll go ahead and start on the inside part of my hand, going in between those straight radial lines that I just drew. And I want to use my best coloring rules right now. 1, stay inside my black lines. 2, go all the way to the edges of my paper when I need to. And 3, fill in any large white spaces. Make sure I'll go up this finger, but don't go over any of my straight lines. I have my first part done. Now I'm going to switch to my other complementary color of that pair, and I'm going to move right next to it to start creating an A-B style pattern. In my case, my pattern is going to be red, green, red, green, red, green, all the way around my hand. Again, your pattern might be different if you picked different complementary colors. I'm going to keep working around my hand with my red-green combo until my hand looks like this hand. Again, if you would like to pause the video at this moment to make sure that you can get up to where I am coloring in my hand, please do so. When you're ready, you'll push play again, and we're going to work on coloring around the outside part of our hand now. I want to go ahead and switch my colors to help create the best contrast and make my hands pop. So I'll go ahead, maybe I'll start with my red. I don't want to put red next to red, I want to put red next to green. So I like to mark just a little bit of red in the spots next to green where I'm going to color red in a moment. All right, one more. Then I'll do the same thing with my green. I'll go next to red to know that those are the different parts that I'm going to color with my green crayon. Once I've worked my way around marking where I want to color, I'll go in and I'll color that whole entire slice with that color. Again, using my good coloring rules, I'll try my best to stay inside my lines. I'll color all the way to the edges, and I'll fill in any large white spaces. You'll work your way all the way around your hand, doing the background, until your paper, again, looks like this. Here is my completed complementary colored hand. I took my time, tried my best to color it in with those good coloring rules, and I have a great example of a hand that pops. Again, if you would like to try this example using different complementary colors or using different types of lines, that's a great way to make it unique and different, as well as even trying it in a different way using a different shape in the middle part of your paper. When you are completely done, please, if you want to, Take a photo of your finished complementary hand so I can see what colors you picked and what shape you chose to do in the middle part of your paper, and post it to our Artsonia gallery. Again, there's a demo video showing you how to do that with a classroom mode on my YouTube here as well. I hope you had fun creating complementary hands in this colorful and handy art activity. We'll see you, friends, in our next video.